Every airline ticket price you have ever seen was shaped by timing, demand, and inventory conditions in that exact moment. The number changes because the system is designed to change it. Most people assume ticket prices move because of random chance or because the website recognized them and pushed the price up on purpose. Neither explanation gets to the full mechanism. The price you see is the output of a yield management system running continuously in the background. It is not your cookies punishing you for hesitating. It is airline inventory, timing, and demand moving underneath the price. Here is how it works. Every seat on a flight is placed into a fare bucket, a pricing tier with its own inventory limit. The cheapest bucket has the fewest seats. As those sell, the system automatically moves remaining seats into higher buckets. No human decision required. The algorithm monitors booking pace, days to departure, competitor pricing, and historical demand patterns for that specific route on that specific day. If bookings are coming in faster than expected, prices rise. If the flight is filling slowly, prices may drop to stimulate demand. The system is continuously working to maximize revenue from every seat at every point in the booking window. Here is the trade-off the airlines made. Airline seats are perishable inventory. If a plane takes off with an empty seat, that revenue is gone forever. So airlines keep balancing two risks at once, selling too cheap too early or holding too long and flying empty. Dynamic pricing solves both. A seat that would have sold for $200 in a flat price system might sell for $400 under yield management, or $50 if the flight is nearly empty at departure. A stable price would feel fairer from the passenger side, but it would be worse for a business trying to extract maximum revenue from inventory that expires the moment the plane departs. This system has a specific origin. After U.S. airline deregulation in 1978, carriers could no longer rely on government-controlled fare structures. They had to compete freely, and that meant managing seat inventory with far more precision than before. Computerized reservation systems, including tools the industry had been developing since the 1960s, made dynamic pricing possible at scale. American Airlines was among the first to formalize this into a yield management strategy. It worked so well that competitors had to adopt it or lose revenue. Within a decade, yield management was the industry standard. Every major airline in the world now runs a version of this system. The logic has since spread beyond aviation. Hotels, rental cars, ride-sharing, and online retail all use variants of the same approach. So the next time a price changes while you are looking at it, nothing went wrong. The system is working exactly as designed. What you are seeing is revenue management doing exactly what it was built to do, controlling limited seat inventory, adjusting which price tier is available, and moving offers in real time as demand shifts. What feels personal is usually just inventory logic happening fast enough for you to notice. The fare was never a fixed fact. It was always a moving target, set by software, adjusted in real time, and tied to timing, inventory, and demand. If you want more small things with big reasons, subscribe.